Today's entire video is inspired by mold. But just hear me out, okay? Because I wanted an excuse to try and use a lot of the moldy or dirty or broken furniture in The Sims 4 because we have a lot of it in this game, and I find that I kind of tend to avoid that stuff when I'm building. And so I thought today we could try and build an apartment building in Del Sol Valley on this inner circle lot. I've always thought that these two lots were just begging to have residential rentals on them. I mean, this one has 3 driveways. Like, it was born to have this. It just took them years to finally give us the ability to do it. And my vision is to have sort of a Florida core apartment building. And what I mean by that is it needs to be short, like a 2-story walk-up building. And then it can have outdoor hallways. So the front door of all the apartments is outside. And then I thought we could try and add in like some breeze blocks and some outdoor staircases. I kind of want to have a pool. The only thing that's not gonna be Florida core about this is the fact that I'm gonna have a basement, because that would just simply not do around these parts. And then of course it's gonna be absolutely revolting, both inside and out. I'm gonna have all the stains, all the cracks, everything's gonna be broken. I wanna have the moldy lot challenge, and I think this will be fun. But let's just jump straight into that speed build, and I'll show you what I built and kind of walk you through how I did it. And I should warn you, the beginning of this might seem kind of bland, only because the actual shell of the building is kind of just a big rectangle with a porch, because in real life, that's kind of how these things go. A lot of apartment buildings especially are kind of just big rectangles like this. I mean, not even just apartments, everything. Your grocery store, like everything's just a big rectangle. And so I sort of struggle with that in The Sims because I want it to be more interestingly shaped and have like a cooler shell, but this is more realistic and kind of fits the vibe of what we're going for. And I tried to add a lot of detail in other ways through things like the breeze block and like fancy fences and columns and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And this part is actually kind of inspired by my grandma's old house. The building that she used to live in was kind of a similar shape and vibe, where it had like the outdoor staircases and the 2 floors and the breeze block. And so I was kind of trying to use that as my original inspiration here. But admittedly, her place was not quite as moldy as this, although it did flood really bad in a hurricane one time and got filled with 6 feet of water. So I suppose after that it was, but it was fixed, thankfully. It just took a long time and a lot of money to replace literally everything in her whole 1st floor condo. But anyway, in total, the building has 4 apartment units and they're all relatively small. I also tried to have them all not be the same, but like the top and bottom floors kind of match each other because they're the same on both floors with like some variation in floor plan a little bit. And then this part in the front is me putting in a parking lot. So we're gonna have like a nice space to park some cars and like fill in the area that way. I hid some dumpsters back there. And then we're also gonna have an outdoor pool. So we're gonna try and put a big fence in to surround the pool too. And believe it or not, this build is actually the origin of a meme on my Twitch channel. So if you've ever come by a stream and heard me talking about Mold Monday, or like saw somebody mention it in the chat and you thought, what on earth is that supposed to mean? This is Mold Monday. Basically, I decided to build a moldy house on stream and it was a Monday. And so I put in my stream schedule Mold Monday, and then we really took that and ran with it. This is one of those things where when you explain it, it's like not funny. But I don't know, it's just something about us building moldy stuff on Mondays. It kind of became a thing. I've done like 4 different Mold Monday streams on Twitch in the last year or so. But this was the first one. This was the beginning. This was the origin of it all. So it's really important to us. This is like a lore drop that I'm finally posting on YouTube. I had a lot of trial and error with the specific little details on this place too, because I had a hard time deciding what kind of doors I wanted to use, and like, do I want to have half walls? Do I want to have fences? I was going back and forth so much with the style of that and the color scheme and like, where are the windows gonna go? How's it gonna look? And so I'm just sorry in advance for what you're gonna have to witness. But I was changing my mind non-stop with this one. I think I actually end up keeping these doors in the end, and this is what we stuck with, but I might go back and forth a few different times, and for that I'm so sorry. You're gonna have to just bear with me on that one. But while past Kayla is trying to figure out the roof, I feel like right now might be a good time to drop in a little bit of a life update because I tend to do that in these speed builds. First, I'm really sorry because I did not post anything on YouTube this whole week and I didn't stream at all, which is very abnormal for me, and I feel really guilty about like ditching you all for a little bit, so I'm really sorry. Long story short, I've had a really rough month. My cat died, and then my grandpa died, and then I was traveling for his funeral, and then I got home and I kind of had like a full crash out about everything. That's not the best way to put it. The grief has been getting to me, basically. So I was having a hard time recording because I felt like I could not be entertaining when I was feeling like that. And I was just crying all the time. Like, I can't really bring myself to like record, you know, it's just a weird situation. So anyway, I didn't post for a few days, but I'm trying to get back into a routine. So I'm locked in, I'm back. And I'm sorry that I abandoned you. But I think maybe it was good. I did a lot of like deep cleaning in my house after I got back from the funeral. I like organized the laundry room, all the like cleaning cabinets, you know, that I have like all my cleaner in. I organized that cabinet. I organized the pantry. I helped my parents like surprise clean out and organize my sister's room and like repaint it and stuff because she was out of town. So I was trying to do a lot of like I don't know, like productive things that didn't involve me filming myself. But anyway, I'm locked back in. I think I needed it, but I'm back and I'm sorry. Oh, and I also listened to so many books because I was like working on things all day where, like, you know, if you're organizing or like cleaning something, you can easily have your headphones in and listen to a book. So I listened to a lot of audiobooks this week. I read 13 books in June, but anyway, all that to say, I'm back, I'm locked in, and I'm sorry. What you're seeing now, I actually brought a sim here because I ended up putting in some like yucky stuff in the pool. And so I wanted to bring a sim here so I could visualize it and see it in live mode, not just in build mode. Because I put this like steamy stuff in the bottom so the pool kind of looks like, I don't know, it's alive and kind of yucky. And so I wanted to test out how that looked when somebody was swimming in it. I think I ended up actually also putting an alligator in there, but it looks like I don't have that yet. So we'll definitely see that soon. And then this was me trying to test out what kind of flooring I wanted to put everywhere, because I knew I wanted to have maybe some tile, but then I kind of wanted it to be cracked. And then I thought I wanted to have like, you know, big walkways that are concrete. And so I went back and forth a lot with that and trying to decide what it should look like. And then this part, this little basement that I added in just then when I was yapping, it's really teeny tiny, but that's gonna be like a basement storage room and laundry space. So I wanted to have an area to have like communal laundry down there. And so I didn't have space for it really above ground. And so I put it in the basement, which is the only thing that is not Florida core, like I mentioned earlier. There are some parts of Florida that have basements. Whenever I talk about how we don't have basements here, there's always somebody who's like, well, this place has a basement. It's just really uncommon, really uncommon, because our water table's too high. I mean, places flood and stuff, so it's just not really practical to have things underground. We have a lot of moisture problems around here. These are the columns that I ended up using. They kind of have a matching thing to the breeze block that we used, and I got really excited about them because I don't think I've ever used those before, and they're base game, so I had no excuse. But I think maybe because they're so big and like kind of bulky, I haven't really found a place to put them. I didn't want to stretch them because you can see that it stretched out the pattern and I didn't like that, so I just stacked them and it worked out okay. And then I went back through doors and maybe this is what I stuck with. I think maybe I kept these. These are the tiny living doors, and part of what I was worried about is because those doors are kind of small. I felt a little bit unsure about using them just because I thought, oh, they're like so little bitty and tiny. I kind of want to have it go more to the ceiling, but they also kind of look like apartment doors to me. So I was having a hard time, but I think I settled on those. We'll see. I can't remember this part, to be honest with you, which is kind of embarrassing, but you know, I built this a while ago and I was thinking more about the mold and less about the doors, the front doors. Just then I added like a little bump out on the back in the bottom, because that way I could have that apartment be a tiny bit bigger, which I kind of liked the idea of, just so we could have a little bit more space and maybe have one that has 2 bedrooms and things. So like I was saying before, they're like similar floor plans, but not all the same. And then I also wanted to add in like bike storage over there. So this extra walkway in the front that kind of like curves around again, that goes to a place to put some bikes. I put this giant mailbox in. That has way more mail slots than we need. We only have 4 apartments here, but I didn't want to use, the other one has 3, I think. And so it's like, well, none of these work. But I decided to use that one anyway, just because I'm pretending that it's a big apartment building anyway. And then I added in some parking, and this is where things got a little bit complicated because there is absolutely no way that these cars could really drive and turn into this. It's so tight. I probably shouldn't have done it. but I really wanted to have a parking lot and I wanted to have like extra space for landscaping. And so I tried to keep it on purpose, but I like trying to picture that truck getting back there. Like how? How did it do that? It had like this much paved space to drive on. The rest of it's grass, but there's also a fence. Like they couldn't. But I don't know. It's okay. This is The Sims. It's fine. It doesn't matter. They can't drive anyway, right? It's just pretend. Then I started thinking about trying to like maybe switch around the sides and maybe doing it diagonally. I was really trying to have some alternate ideas, but I don't know. They all kind of looked weird. If you're looking for that parking stop item, because I get questions about that a lot whenever I use it in a build, that is actually from Strangerville. It's a Strangerville debug object, and so I use that a lot when I'm making community lots or places like this. Oh, I forgot I did that. I just made one of the cars be parked badly. I had the truck back in, the little red car is parked bad. I think that's kind of a funny detail too. I feel like that gives it a little bit more realism. I don't know. And I left one of the parking spots open because maybe that person's not home or something. I don't know. Okay, but now we're starting to think a little bit about landscaping. So I was gonna add in a few palm trees to fit the Florida core-ness of it all. It's also, I mean, it's in Del Sol Valley, so they've got palm trees here too. And then we're gonna add in some bushes. I was kind of having a hard time with this part, like the long skinny bush part, which you wouldn't think would be that difficult, but I was kind of struggling with what sort of fence to put around it. Like I wanted to kind of like fence it in, but I couldn't really find anything that worked how I wanted it to. But then I also added in a few of these. I think the ones I put are the ones from Businesses and Hobbies, but they've got those same plants in like high school years and things too. But I put some of those around because I kind of liked how it had a little bit of a like overgrown kind of vibe. It doesn't look like it's super fancy landscaping. It's not being manicured or anything, but it's not bad looking. Like it still looks nice and it's pretty. I also really like the wildflowers, so I just kind of wanted an excuse to use those. This is one of my favorite kinds of landscaping nowadays. I have like the classic Simsy blue suburban landscaping vibe with like the low-lying plants and the hydrangeas. And then I've been doing this a lot with those low-lying plants and the wildflowers. The builds are gonna be getting like one or the other recently, but I think it works. And then again, I put some more palm trees, a few different kinds of them. Those palm trees I like a lot less than the shorter one. I really like that short, bushier palm tree from Island Living, but it just doesn't fit in tiny corners. So those are good because they work in the bigger spaces. I went through and I added some more windows around the place too, just so that it would look a little bit, you know, more finished, maybe a little bit brighter and stuff. We don't necessarily need to have that many windows, I don't think. And I might actually even end up deleting some of these if I remember correctly, but we'll see once we get further into the build. Now we're gonna put in the bikes in that little bike rack area. They fit perfectly by accident, which I was really excited about because I didn't even mean for that to happen. But somehow they were like the exact right size. I also added in some of those air conditioning units. I kind of liked how they were a little bit dirty looking. And it's obviously, it makes sense in a hot place to have some air conditioning. I put like a gutter somewhere. I added in a couple of extra trees around in little corners so it looks a bit more filled in. And now we're gonna start trying to figure out like the front and the wallpaper and stuff. I have a really hard time with half walls because I feel like they never have the kind of color that I want as the half wall trim color. And so this was one of those times where I was really struggling. I was like really frustrated by that, but I just kind of found one that worked enough. And then this is actually Love Struck wallpaper. You can see how it's got like the sort of distressed, destroyed kind of look. I don't really know for certain how I feel about how it looks when it's stacked, but I do kind of like how the top and bottom go together to look, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it looks all right, especially once we add in some extra things around the outside. I also used this kind of fun tile roof, but I made it green so it would match the green like peeling paint that they have. We also have some greenish umbrellas over there by the pool, so it all kind of comes together. I had a hard time with the landscaping directly in front of the building in this little section just because it's so small and it's on a platform, so the game didn't want me to place my big plants. They kept floating. But I added a few little things, like I tried to put some plant pots around different people's front doors. I just kind of tried to make it look like they had a little bit more individuality. I might even have put like some various different doormats and things down. I found these little signs in debug, so I added some of those. I actually had to get rid of the platform to try and place some of the landscaping in, but it's such a pain to use debug landscaping in platforms. They did fix it so that regular landscaping won't jump to height of foundations anymore, but debug landscaping still does, and everything jumps to the height of platforms. That's just unavoidable. So I got rid of it to see if I liked it better like this so I could scoot things closer. And then I was able to put the platform back and it ended up being fine. I just was kind of overreacting as I tend to do. If there's one thing about me, it's that I'm gonna panic about something that is absolutely not an issue. Like, why are you freaking out about the flowers? It's gonna be fine. And turns out it was fine. But that is the end of me building the exterior of this Mold Monday apartment complex. I only ended up furnishing one of the apartments, so I want to go into the game now and give you a tour of the full thing, like fully done, and then show you around the floor plan and stuff. If you're looking for it on the gallery, it's called Moldy Apartments, and it's hashtag Mold Monday and hashtag Inner Circle, because that's the name of the lot originally. I try to put things like that to make it a little bit easier to find, but I know that it doesn't always make a difference. I mean, even I just had a hard time getting it to show up on my own gallery. If you filter by 40 by 30 and residential rental, and then sometimes if you like hop back and forth between most popular and newest, randomly it shows up again. I wrote, beware the mold, this place is very dangerous. What? Okay, sure, Kayla. We'll have to bring a sim here as well so that we can see what everything looks like with the actual bugs and critters flying around. You need to get the full experience, you know? Who should we move here? Oh, Judy. Perfect. Okay. I'll have her live in the furnished apartment. She should have plenty of money for that. The daily rent is 58 simoleons, by the way. Yeah, I think Judith Ward can afford that. I think she'll be all right. Oh, boo, it's cloudy. That's fine. The clouds might kind of add to the ambiance. So I put like little flies and mosquitoes around. That's why I wanted to show you in live mode, just so you could see like some of the bugs, because it just looks like a square in build mode, which isn't as fun. So there's various little bugs kind of floating around. If we watch this long enough, we might see the gator. Come on, come on, come on. Come on. What if I lied and there is? Oh, there it is. I was gonna say, what if I lied and there is no gator? No, there's a gator. And this is the apartment that I furnished. Oh, look, I changed the doors. Oh, thank God. I was looking at those tiny living ones and thinking, oh, I wish I hadn't chosen those. But I didn't. I changed them in the end. Okay, that is such a relief. Oh, I had forgotten about that part. Anyway, this is the one that we furnished. So I like full scent the mold in this apartment, as you can see. We've got a little kitchen full of some broken stuff. We've got pipes. I put this bucket with water here because in my mind the ceiling's leaking, so they're trying to catch all the water. We got like dirty coffee cups, broken TVs, broken lamps, little desk space. This air conditioning unit is leaking, so they've got some mold underneath it too. And then through here we have the bedroom. There's more water leaking from the ceiling, and this is the mold pile starting to grow in there. More water leaking from the ceiling. And I liked this idea. So this bed is the Love Struck early purchase bonus content, which is really annoying, but I like cheated and put it inside of the couch, so it looks like a sofa bed. It kind of has like pull-out bed energy. We have things like broken pictures. I put a broken mirror. And then in here we have a little bathroom. There's some more mold there, but luckily it's not the deadly mold. It's just allergenic. I made it so that this place has creepy crawlies, filthy, grody, mold, quake zone, and spooky. And then I also gave it the cat hangout so that stray cats will come here and hang out on this lot. So this one's just the one bedroom. I think I might go back to Manage Worlds without a sim here so that I can show you the whole place. I wish that you could see the VFX in build mode from Manage Worlds, because that would solve all my problems. But anyway, let me kick out Judy again. Goodbye. Hello? I forgot that I furnished all of them. Looking back on it now, I remember doing this, but I completely forgot that I furnished all of them. Wow, this video is a mess. This is all over the place. In my defense, I'm a mess. I am all over the place right now. Wow, okay, well, anyway. Okay, well, it's coming back to me now. So this apartment, I made it for 2 roommates, and I kind of tried to make it like lightly wicked coated with the pink and the green. But my thought was that these 2 are roommates, but they're like roommates, and they're gonna fall in love. You know what I mean? We've got some mismatched dining chairs. I used the minty kitchen set, which is always fun because it's hard to fit that places. They've got like a rat in their little living room. This is the pink bedroom that we've got right here. Oh my God, no wonder it had so many packs on the gallery. And then they've got a Jack and Jill style bathroom between the 2. And then this is the green bedroom with some fun green lights that they've got. And then upstairs is another 1-bedroom apartment, but this one's very cat themed. In my mind, the person who lived here has a lot of cats, so they have like the cat bed, the tiger swatch of this bed, and it's kind of rainbowy as well. Then they've got like a rainbow bathroom. This is their kitchen. Lots of art stuff in here too. I was pretty excited about these curtains, so I don't use those very often either. And then the last apartment, this one is also 2 bedrooms. I tried to make this one kind of parenthood themed, like they've got stuff for their kids in here. Oh, I forgot about this too. The baby is a lawyer. That's why there's legal case files on the nightstand. Wow. I'm gonna link the VODs down below from where I built this live on stream if you wanted to go back and watch them. Though it'll be like many hours long, lots of content. But if you want to watch like the full process, I'll link it for you. But this is where the genius baby lives, inside of this bedroom. That's how the baby has these artworks done as well, because they made them when they were in infant class, and now they're about 9 months old and they've graduated law school. But we still have those hung up because, you know, it's their achievements, right? This is their bathroom. They've got a Strangeville poster and some fun colors, and then we have the primary bedroom in here. So I tried to use a lot of things that I don't normally go for. And then last but certainly not least, this is the basement area. So we have a little staircase that goes down here from up top. They've got a door, they've got things like the trash cans and a hose down here. And then this is the laundry room. So they've got paid washing machines with the coin slot in them. And then I made it so that a couple of the units, well, but not all 4 units, have some storage down here. So like this one was for the painter. I thought this could be for the family that lives there with the genius baby. And this one, I mean, this could be anybody's, it's just boxes, but I kind of liked the idea of that. They also have this closet, like a utility closet, so you can woohoo in there if you wanted to. But it's real gross down here. Like the mold on the walls, oh my goodness. Ew. This makes so much more sense now too, because I thought that I didn't record the furnishing because it was just one apartment. No, I didn't record it because it was like probably 5 hours of work. The video would have been so long. That's okay. We have all the streams, so I can link those for you. And I hope that you enjoyed this. I really, really like how this place turned out. I didn't even tell you about this part. I put holes in the roof, so that's why it's leaking into their apartments, because the roof's not closed. Well, with that, I think I'm gonna wrap this video up right here. Sorry again that it was all over the place. That kind of just is how the speed builds go, and also my life is all over the place. So perhaps it's just like a little bit symbolic, you know? Yesterday, I had to call the pharmacy about my cat Sunny's prescription because it's like a new pharmacy, and so I had to talk to them on the phone. And she asked me what my cat's name was that the vet had sent over the medication for, and I told her Snap. And then she went, I don't see anything for Snap in here. And I was like, oh my god, it's not for Snap, it's for my cat Sunny. Snap is just the one that always had medications. Like I had this elderly cat who was so sick for so long, and I just like, I don't know, it just like force a habit came out, because whenever I would have to call a vet or a doctor or a pharmacist, whatever, it was always because Snap was sick. This is about Sunny's anxiety medication, which is also so real, like me and her both, you know? But anyway, I was very upset after I did that. I got off the phone and like sobbed. Just, anyway, I don't know why I told you that. I think just as further evidence that I am all over the place right now. But I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Bye, everybody. Let me know if we should do more Mold Monday here on YouTube. I mean, there's only so many moldy buildings a person needs, but like, let me know if you want to see another, because I would do it.